Hello, this is part 3, or the third video in our series on visual storytelling. And I just want to backtrack a little bit and go over some things that a friend of mine pointed out that were missing. If you remember in our first video, our two-part, where I created my story outline and my sketches, it became clear that my story actually misses some very important things. And you can see here the notes I have. It misses a conflict resolution, which is why the story isn't a story, but is actually a process of me walking to school, which isn't very exciting. So that needs to be fixed. It's also missing. It's missing a character or characters to help deliver that story. So those are the key issues you want to be mindful of when you're thinking about the type of story you want to tell. Now, the other thing here regarding conflict and resolution, I sketched here usually at the beginning of the story. You have an event that happens that sort of sets the stage, and then at the end you have a resolution. And in this case, it starts out. A bad event kicks off the story, and you have continuing events that, other bumps in the road that might hit, and then you reach the climactic event that turns the tables and resolves all the issues, and finally you have a happy ending. What I didn't label here, we have time going across the horizontal. The vertical is represented by a buildup of tension. So in your story events, you want to sort of build up to the main event, the turning point, and that helps keep the story interesting. Now, don't worry about this if you're not, if some of this might be confusing. Naturally, if you are telling a story that has conflict and resolution, you're going to have this sort of mapping, where over time, things build up to a head, and then finally something breaks, and there's a resolution involved as the story winds down. Now, with my outline here, because this is a process, we don't have that conflict resolution happening, which is unfortunate. And I forgot to set a timer so I don't talk forever. So I'm gonna fix that with mine here. I can go back to what my friend told me here, and he suggested, my friend Mike suggested, that the story go as this. My job is to teach students at the school, but the main event that kicks things off is that my car breaks down. So that creates the initial conflict. And then I have to walk to school, but it's a very difficult walk, and the tension is I can't let the students down by missing school. So at all costs I have to make it there. And he outlines, he does all the work for me here. He's a gifted storyteller himself, and he says here, panel 1 can be the start of the journey. Illustrating that the car won't start. Maybe it's a flat tire. So if I, that's something that's easily illustrated. We could do a close-up of a car here. And there's a flat tire. There might be another panel, either before or after, where there's a reaction shot of me. So we introduce the character I'm all dressed and ready for school. Should put my hat on. Everyone likes my hat. And I've got a big frown on my face. So that kicks off the story for panels, for the first panel. How can we combine these two, though? Is there a way that we can combine my reaction and the idea that the car is broken? We're not sure yet. We're still sketching. So panel 2, here I start walking so we can show my character, beginning my epic journey to the school. Maybe there's a mountain or a hill up here, and this is the school up at the top of the hill, to kind of gives us a sense of what I'm up against here. Could be other hills here, and then there's the long winding road. And the point of this is that while the story can be based on actual events and characters, my setting and the way I style the characters can be completely separate from reality. So, while I am a teacher and I do have to get to school, I don't have to show Squirrel Hill accurately. I don't have to show myself accurately. And this is really rough. I'm not drawing very well today. I'm a bit rusty. So that might be panel 2, as suggested by Mike here. And he says that maybe there's also some narration. There could be a narration box here, or there could be a thought cloud coming out of my head saying something to, well, at any rate, that needs to be solved in what would be called the script. I'll have to eventually think about what is in these items here, and that's delivered in the script. And that's just me writing out what happens in the story, or what is said during the story. Alright, so for the third panel, what does Mike suggest here? Panel 3. So we walk through the forest trail. So that's easy. We can almost reuse the existing sketch that I have for purposes of planning. So if we got the trail, and there might be the waterfall feature still here. Be nice to keep that in this one here. And my eraser isn't working, so let's fill that in. There's a waterfall. Okay. Trees. Lots of trees. And again, oops. I'm really not sure if this is going to be photography or drawings. If it's going to be drawings, if I'm going to be creating this material myself, then I've got a lot of work ahead of me. But we do have a good schedule for this project. Alright, so there's the forest scene. Again, the recommendation is, to have my character, thinking about the journey. So here's my character, and we could have narration here, or thought bubbles. Alright, so what do we got so far? Alright, so I gotta get to school. I can't get there by my normal mode of transportation. The journey's going to be hard because it's really far away. Here is the school. Here is me. Long journey. Alright. And then in the middle here we've got this reaction to the environment. It's a beautiful environment here, and that needs to be illustrated. And let's move along here. 4. Panel 4 reveals the epic hill. So maybe this is the mountain, and then there's the school, right? Ooh, some kind of flag, and there's just little me standing at the bottom. Some clouds, blue sky. Let's add some trees in here. So it kind of appears like we're coming out of that forest. This way I don't have to worry about illustrating Squirrel Hill realistically, right? So we're just gonna make this up. Forest. And then there's a clearing up here with the school. Alright, panel 5. Running out of time here. Panel 5, halfway up, tired and winded, but feeling the need to press onward. It's too late to turn back. So let's bring our character back in here. For a reaction, you know. Let's see what my face looks like. There's a big drops of sweat. I'm in agony because it's a rough walk up this hill. And if there's some way to show, you know, the hill, the bottom of the hill in the background, you know, maybe these are the forest trees in the distance. If we could show those treetops and the valley below with the road or the trail that I initially started on, that might be a nice shot. We should give myself a walking stick here. Everyone on an epic journey has a walking stick, right? And let's see, I should have a 5 o'clock shadow too, because I've been walking so long. Oh no. No one has a beard on top of their nose. Alright. Alright, so that's panel 5. 6. Now running out of time. Top of the hill revealing the school. Maybe it's the hat. Walking stick. And then here's the school with the door and a sign. And it would be also nice to show something inside the school, maybe with a clock. And maybe there's students coming in the door. But that might be a tough one. It'd also be nice to have me with a look of relief, you know, that I made it. So I got a big smile. Yay, I made it. My walking stick. Alright, so hopefully that fixed the issue with the story. So I've introduced conflict resolution with the fateful event on my car. I turned the boring process of going to school into a story. It's still a journey, but along the way you experience the epicness of the distance in this one, as well as the reward of the environment in this one here. Another epic shot. And 5 and 6, this might be the climax here. And so I also solved the issue of having a character, you know. So we got me in there. All right, and that should do it. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.